What's up, everybody? Wick here. This is a video I took in late August 2025 in the northwest corner of Yellowstone National Park. It was originally going to be a 5-day, 4-night trip with 3 of my oldest buddies, good friends, good hiking guys, good fishermen as well. Things got a little bit tweaked along the way. A couple guys needed to hike out early just because of scheduling issues. And we eventually turned what was going to be the 5-night trip into just a 4-night trip with one big backpacking day out. Had an incredible time. There's a reason why I went to Sportsman Lake to begin with. It's the first time I've been back there since I think I was about 14 years old, when my dad and I rode in on horseback and fished it. And I've been trying to make a trip back up there ever since. And so it was exciting to get the chance to finally get back in there after a couple foiled trips due to permit issues and wildfire smoke and whatever over the course of the last few years. Anyway, it was a great time. It ended up being about maybe 33, 34 miles total. Caught some fish, saw a new start of a wildfire, which is pretty interesting. Fortunately, things turned out really, really well, and we walked out unscathed. Yeah, so give the video a shot and let me know what you think. Cheers. Hit the Fawn Pass Trailhead, Yellowstone National Park, August 19th, 2025. Looking out at Electric Peak up there on the left and Joseph Peak sticking its head up on the right. We're gonna walk in Sportsman Lake and under Electric Peak here in a couple days before working our way back out a little north of here to Specimen Creek. 5-day, 4-night adventure. Do a lot of fishing, some fun camping. What's up, Bri? Fan Creek. Set up camp here shortly. About the opposite end of those meadows up there. Do a little fishing this evening.
Trying to get it zoomed in.
Yeah, now I'm doing my best as well. This bald eagle just floating up in the breeze and trying to dive bomb the creek and get a fish.
I'm getting good shots of a bird, but you definitely can't tell it's a bald eagle.
Well, hopefully that means it's a good sign that there's fish in this particular section of creek, as he's obviously hunting something.
Here we go.
Getting camp set up here at campsite WC2, night 1, Fan Creek out there in the meadows. Head out there here in a little bit once it starts to cool off and do some trout fishing. A little windy up here in the bluff above Fan Creek where we're setting up shop for the night. See the boys down in the creek itself getting water and finding some good fishing spots, which I don't think we're gonna have to look too hard. Some pretty elite spots in this meadow and drainage area over here. Fish on.
Fish on. Come back here. Just chill. I'll let you do.
Evening day 1, WC2 down here in the Fan Creek Meadows. You look closely, you might be able to see Smitty out there doing his best to catch as many fish as he can. Looking down Fan Creek, and it looks like there's a fire that popped up on the over that ridge on the Idaho side of the Gallatin River, and it's pluming up pretty big, pretty quick. There's a decent breeze out here right now, so get to watch this guy for a little bit and see if it's what we think it is. It's a little hard to tell in this video, but the sun just got really orange as it's starting to pass down behind this ridge through that smoke plume. No bueno. We're pretty much due east of where this started up. A little bit over that ridge there. So we're gonna watch it once the sun goes down and see what we can see in terms of glow and pattern, and whether or not we need to book it out of here tonight. Morning, day 2. You're from WC2 along the beautiful Fan Creek Meadows. Looking back up that ridge where we definitely saw smoke plumes coming up last night, and not seeing them so much this morning. I don't know if it means it was controlled burn, if it's just cool enough and the winds haven't picked up and we haven't seen the smoke come rising yet. But anyway, looks like we are not going to try to sprint back to the cars. Instead, we're going to try to work our way further up Fan Creek this way, around the bend, going up there, make our way to Sportsman Lake today. Be about a 8-mile day with a couple thousand feet up and then a big drop back down into the lake. Cruising up through the upper Fan Creek Meadows. Glorious blue skies today. It's beautiful in here.
There's the sun. The unsuspecting toboggan that's around here.
Bushwhacking through a swamp, and this Fan Creek Meadows / Fan Creek Swamp. And a couple beaver dams in here that have flooded the entire plain. A lot of the online maps and digital maps show a route through this, but it's pretty clear that the beavers have been active this year and flooded this area. Props to Yellowstone National Park, whose own proprietary map suggested that we backtrack from camp yesterday and go around the dry route. We got ambitious. We are cutting off a good portion of the backtrack trail, about 1.5 miles, but it is wet and soggy all through here. Go beavers. We have de-swamped, climbed over a couple of beaver dams, made it to the north side, the west side, Fan Creek Meadows, and we're gonna head up towards that ridge out there as we start turning back east and go towards Sportsman Lake this afternoon. Coming up to the top of the Sportsman Lake Trail. A little over 8,300 feet, and starting to open up into some views. The big mountain out there is Electric Peak with the...
That's electric?
Yeah. The big old dark clouds around it, as always. About to drop down into Sportsman Lake. Made it up to our camp here, WD3, just above the shores of Sportsman Lake. It's a beautiful basin up here. Clouds finally broke, sun's out. outfitter camp set up down there on the opposite side underneath that beautiful peak. And then can't really see Electric Peak from where we are right now, but it's kind of back up there around the bend. Get some shots from when we get put down the lake in a minute. We are trying unsuccessfully to pull some trout out of the the depths of Sportsman Lake right now before it's too late here in camp. Absolutely gorgeous around here. Yeah, we've had a tough day fishing. Nothing's really biting. It's been super windy, so that's just kind of what happens up here sometimes. But it's calming down a little bit, and we're gonna try to get a little luck before it's too late and time to go make dinner and get to bed. So, cheers. Fishing Sportsman Lake, Electric Peak. Well, after 7 o'clock, the sun is done for the day on top of the lake, but it's still catching plenty of sun and eventual alpenglow on the other side of the lake. You might be able to see the ranger cabin back there. Evening of day 2 of what's been a pretty incredible trip so far. Morning, day 3. Over misty, foggy Sportsman Lake. We got across Sportsman Lake meadows. The outfitter camp that's on the other side of the meadows over there. Some horses and mules out there in the distance. Electric Peak over here in the corner. It's pretty incredible up here. Sportsman Lake, our camp is back up here in these trees a little bit, up on this ridge. We hiked back a couple 100 yards and threw up tents last night. It was windy as could be yesterday, which is why we sought refuge in the trees, but that ended up dying down by the time we went to sleep. It was a really nice, really calm night. Brian and Will went ahead and hiked out. They've got other stuff they got to do today. But George and I are gonna head back up that pass and up and over towards High Lake today and find ourselves a camp. Climbing up out of the Sportsman Lake Basin, looking back at Electric Peak. It's a little hazy out this morning. Finally, for the first time all trip, it has a little twinge of smoke smell in the air. It's not too bad, and we're hoping it'll kind of burn off as it warms up over the course of the day, especially if it gets anywhere close to as windy as it was yesterday. But it's absolutely beautiful weather up here right now. Heading over towards the High Lake area and get to figure out where we're camping the night outside the park on the boundary near Gallatin National Forest. Looking out across these meadows as we work our way up towards High Lake along the Sportsman Lake Trail. There's a big moose out there. Big bull moose. let him go back to his business and work our way on around him. It's beautiful. And George with this big moose, big bull moose across the meadow. Probably 100 yards away. He's been watching us the entire time we've been watching him. We're just gonna give him some space and get on out of this meadow, but that's really special. Thanks, Mr. Moose. Made it to our latest junction. We're gonna jump on the trail up to High Lake. 3.4 miles to the next junction. We get to figure out what we're gonna do for camping when we get up there. Big open meadows up here, roughly 8,500 feet. On our way up to High Lake, we're getting pretty close to that junction and the ridge and the park boundary that we'll be walking the next day or so as we move our way up towards Crescent Lake, the Gallatin Range. Some more high meadows up here, getting real close to the High Lake Crescent Lake trail junction, just about a mile or so south of High Lake. We're gonna go up there and make some lunch, figure out which one of our numerous options we've got to camp tonight, scout it out, go from there. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to be able to camp in here. Let's do it. We have made it to the national park boundary of Yellowstone, where it runs into the Custer-Gallatin National Forest. We're going to camp in the national forest outside the park tonight, so we're going to explore around up here above the Mill Creek drainage and see if we can find a cool spot to camp up here somewhere. Calm for now. The glassy waters of High Lake. We've actually got our camp set up just a little bit down the trail from here and over the boundary in Custer-Gallatin National Forest and not in the national park. But we are 0.2 of a mile from this, so we're gonna hang out here this afternoon. Already seen more fish in 3 minutes here than I did our entire day at Sportsman Lake. So we'll see how that goes for me. Good evening, day 3 here from Yellowstone National Park's amazing High Lake up here in Montana on the border of the national park and the Custer-Gallatin National Forest. We got here in about 8.5 miles roughly from where we'd set up camp on the far side of the meadow of Sportsman Lake this morning. George and I hiked up here. Our friends Brian and Will had to head back out to their car this morning and catch flight back and go back to work a little bit, but we were up here for the rest of the day. Pretty incredible day. Got to see a full bull moose staring back at us for about the couple minutes we took to get across the meadow that he was on the other side of. Made it up here and finally caught some fish, so I didn't officially get skunked, which I'm ashamed to say how happy I am about that given what this trip was originally planned out to be. But it's absolutely gorgeous up here, and so we've been enjoying some downtown here by the lake and eating a little bit of dinner, and then we are actually heading up and out of the national park into the national forest to go camp for tonight. Tomorrow is another story. I noticed earlier today that the fishing license that I bought, which I thought was the full fishing license I needed for this trip, is actually only the 3-day license. So I am not technically allowed to be fishing after today. So even though we're supposed to go to Crescent Lake tomorrow, stay there,
in theory we were going to fish there, but now that I can't fish there and there's a fire restrictions in place in the park, we can't have a fire. The campsite, we're kind of considering just hiking back out to the car and heading back down to Jackson tomorrow night. So that would make getting home on Saturday a much easier day, since we've got effectively a day and a half of travel between up here and all the way back where I live in Denver. So that's probably what's going to happen, which will be a big day. It'll be a 12-mile day, but if we get started early, I think we can do that and shave off about 3 hours of the drive home as well. So we're going to savor it. We got all of like the high terrain up there to go across, including the high point of our trip at a little over 9,400 feet. I'm excited about that, and just hope it's not too smoky out there so we can see some of the incredible Gallatin Range and the mountains to the north of us. Yeah, so pretty great day 3 on what looks like it's going to be a 4-day trip, which makes tonight the last night. So we are going to stay up a little bit late, watch all the stars, and enjoy it. So cheers. See you guys in the morning.
Good morning. We've made it to day number 4. Get some coffee boiling here. Our little cubby hole site tucked in between the Yellowstone boundary on that side and the Yellowstone boundary on that side here in the Custer-Gallatin National Forest. National Park boundary. Just when you thought the gigantic 2.7 million, 2.2 million acres of Yellowstone National Park was infinite, we found the border. And then we camped on it. Just outside High Lake. Looking around the western shore of High Lake. We're eventually going to work our way up on top of that ridge and then turn that way and walk along the very northern border of the park over to Crescent Lake, where I think we're going to eat lunch and then go ahead and make that 7.5 mile push back to the car today. Should be about a 12-mile day. A lot of beautiful views along the way. Watering up here, I think it's the East Fork of Specimen Creek. Get our day started here, looking back across the south shores of High Lake. We camped a 0.2 of a mile south of it, back that way on the Forest Service boundary. We're gonna head up that ridge once we get a little better hydrated. Kind of a hazy look northeast. I think it's Immigrant Peak out there, which is a little bit taller than 10.9 up there on that side, all in the Gallatin Range. So we're kind of getting up here to the high point on the High Lake Crescent Lake Trail. We're gonna be going up around that ridge on the left, but kind of behind this one on the right. If you kind of bend it around to the right, you get to Gardner, Montana. Just beautiful country up here. Gallatin Range, Gallatin Mountains. Pretty sure that's Bighorn Peak over there, which is along the Skyrim Trail just to the northwest of us, but we are along the very cliffy edge of the Yellowstone boundary on the north side with Custer Gallatin National Forest on that side. You can kind of barely see Immigrant Peak sticking out over top of that little notch on the corner, but this is looking into the Gallatins in Montana. Big skies out there somewhere. Beautiful, beautiful country. Just a little hazy today. And as you can hear, it is a little windy up here. Crossing the scree field here as we work our way over to Crescent Lake. We're looking back east at this arm of the Gallatins, which was kind of on our right shoulder as we climbed in on the first day. We came in down there, and that's where we're working our way back to today. You're seeing Joseph Peak, and that's all the way over to Electric Peak on the left with Sportsman Lake in that basin underneath it. All where we were on the start of this trip. Again, still very hazy up here, but very, very beautiful. You can see forever. Found a well-chiseled arrowhead just sticking out of the dirt right off the trail up here. I'm gonna put it back and not keep it. Higher up in this ridge, what is that? You got Specimen Creek meadows down there?
Sure.
Probably, that's where we're gonna get down to here in a little bit. So run that all the way back out to Specimen Creek Trailhead, somewhere up there. Down on Specimen Creek Meadows. Gallatin's way out in the back. Electric Peak on our shoulder for the rest of the day. Making our way through the trees down into this pretty incredible cirque, which just got Crescent Lake in it at the bottom. We're gonna stop there, have an early lunch, and then kick on down to Specimen Creek Trailhead in the car and Victory Beers. Cruising down Specimen Creek on the Specimen Creek Trail, back to the aptly named Specimen Creek Trailhead. It's Bighorn Peak. You can see poking its head out up there behind the tree that I should have got out of the camera when I first started taking the shot. But just a little over 5 and change miles back on what's going to be our last day here before we drive back down to Jackson and get some beer and cheeseburgers. Bighorn Peak. Specimen Creek Meadows. Only about 3.5 or so miles left of the car. It's basically that drainage right there. It's the Gallatin River, and that's where we're heading. So getting close, which is good because it's getting hot out here.
That is Specimen Creek. We are about a half mile from the car. It is hot, it is steamy. Jackson's about a 3-hour drive, and we are going to push back to there to get some cheeseburgers and beer. And that'll be it for this amazing, amazing trip in Yellowstone National Park. Until next time.